Hello, my name is Shinko. Welcome to my channel. We have been reading and discussing The Warriors Into the Wild by Erin Hunter. We're still on chapter 9, and I want to formally apologize for not uploading yesterday, on Mother's Day specifically. I fully planned to. With this, I'm trying to upload a new video every day, but I woke up yesterday for the first time in a while and had a really bad stomach episode. I was in the shower, in and out of the shower. I was on my hands and knees. I was throwing up. It was a mess. I was a mess yesterday, and I didn't get the chance to record and read for you guys. I apologize. Let's get to it then. We left off at Firepaw essentially has to take care of Yellowfang, the old shadowclan medicine cat. That's his punishment. And he's been watching the other apprentices continue their training, but he's been stuck in the camp taking care of her. Here, mewed Firepaw. He dropped a large mouse and a chaffinch onto the ground besides Yellowfang. Bird. About time, she growled. The she-cat had still been sleeping when Firepaw entered the camp after his hunting trip, but the smell of fresh kill must have woken her. For now, she had pulled herself into a sitting position. She dropped her head and hungrily gulped down Firepaw's offerings. She had developed a massive appetite as her strength slowly began to return. Her wound was healing well, but her temperament remained as fierce as ever, and unpredictable as ever. She finished her meal, then complained. The base of my tail itches like a furry, but I can't reach it. Give it a wash, will you? With an inward shudder, Firepaw crouched down and set to work. As he cracked the plump fleas between his teeth, he noticed a gang of small kits tumbling in the dusty earth nearby. They were mauling each other and play fighting, sometimes quite viciously. Yellowfang, who had closed her eyes as Firepaw groomed her, half opened one eye to observe the kits as they played. To his surprise, Firepaw felt her spine stiffen beneath his teeth. Feel my teeth broke a star, mewed one small tabby. He leaped onto the back of a little gray and white kit who was pretending to be a shadowclan leader. The two kits bundled towards the high rock. Suddenly, the gray and white kit gave a mighty heave and flung the tabby from his back, and with a startled squeak, the little tabby cannoned into Yellowfang's side. Instantly, the old she-cat leaped to her feet, fur on end, spitting violently. Stay away from me, you scrap of fur, she hissed. The tabby kit took one look at the furious cat, turned tail and ran. He hid himself behind a tabby queen who was staring furiously across the clearing at Yellowfang. The gray and white kit froze where he stood. Then, paw by paw, he cautiously backed away towards the safety of the nursery. Yellowfang's reaction had shocked Firepaw. He thought he had seen her at her most vicious when they fought after their first meeting, but her eyes burned with a new rage. I think the kids are finding it hard to be confined at camp, he meowed cautiously. They're getting restless. I don't care how restless they are, growled Yellowfang. Just keep them away from me. Don't you like kids? Firepaw asked, curious in spite of himself. Did you never have kids of your own? Don't you know medicine cats don't have kids? Hissed Yellowfang furiously. But I heard you were a warrior before that, Firepaw ventured. I have no kids, Yellowfang spat. She snatched her tail away from him and sat up. Anyway, her voice suddenly lowered, and she sounded almost wistful. Accidents seem to happen to kids when I'm around them. Her orange eyes clouded with emotion. She laid her chin flat on her forepaws and stared ahead. Firepaw watched her shoulders sink as she released a long, silent sigh. He looked at her curiously. What could she mean? Was the old she-cat being serious? It was hard to tell. Yellowfang seemed to swing from mood to mood so quickly. He shrugged to himself and went on with grooming. There were a couple ticks I couldn't pull out, he told her when he had finished. I should hope you didn't even try, you idiot, snapped Yellowfang. I don't want any tick heads embedded in my rear, thank you very much. Ask Spotted for a little mouse bile to rub on them. A splash of that in their breathing holes and they'll soon loosen their grip. I'll get some now, Firepaw offered. He was glad of a chance to get away from the grumpy cat for a while. And it was certainly no hardship to go see Spotted again. He walked towards the fern tunnel. Cats crossed the clearing around him, carrying sticks and twigs in their teeth. While he had been grooming Yellowfang, the camp had grown active. It had been like this every day since Bluestar had announced WindClan's disappearance. The queens were weaving twigs and leaves into a dense green wall around the sides of the nursery, making sure that the narrow entrance was the only way in and out of the camp. Other cats were working at the edges, filling in any spaces in the thick undergrowth. Even the elders were busy, scraping out a hole in the ground. Warriors filed steadily past, piling pieces of fresh kill beside them, ready to be stored into the newly dug hole. There was an air of quiet concentration, a determination to make the clan as secure and supplied as possible. If shadowclan made a move on their territory, Thunderclan would shelter in their camp. They would not let themselves be driven from their hunting grounds as easily as WindClan had been. Darkstripe, Longtail, Willowpet, and Dustpaw were waiting silently at the camp entrance. Their eyes were fixed on the opening to the gorse tunnel. A patrol was returning, dusty and paw-sore. As soon as the warriors entered the camp, Darkstripe and his companions approached and exchanged words with them. Then they slipped quickly out of the camp. Thunderclan's borders were not being left unguarded for a moment. Firepaw headed down the fern tunnel that led to Spotted Leaf's den. As he entered the clearing, he could see Spotted Leaf was preparing some sweet-smelling herbs. Could I have some mouse bile for Yellowfang's ticks? Firepaw mewed. In a moment, replied Spotted Leaf, pawing 2 piles of herbs together and mixing the fragrant heap with one delicately extended claw. Busy? Firepaw asked, settling down in a warm patch of earth. I want to prepare for any casualties, Spotted Leaf murmured, glancing up at him with clear amber eyes. Firepaw met her gaze for a moment, then looked away, an uncomfortable feeling pricking his fur. Spotted Leaf turned her attention back to the herbs. Firepaw waited, happy to sit quietly and watch her at work. Right, she mewed at last. What was it you wanted? Mouse bile? Yes, please. Firepaw stood up and stretched each back leg in turn. The sun had warmed his fur and made him feel sleepy. Spotted Leaf bounded into her den and brought something out. She held it gingerly in her mouth. It was a small wad of moss dangling at the end of a thin strip of bark. She passed it to Firepaw. He tasted her warm, sweet breath as he took the bark strip between his teeth. The moss is soaked in bile, Spotted Leaf explained. Don't get any in your mouth, or you'll have a foul taste for days. Press it onto the ticks and then wash your paws in a stream, not with your tongue. Firepaw nodded and trotted back to Yellowfang, feeling suddenly cheerful, tingling with energy. Hold still, he meowed to the old she-cat. Carefully he used his forepaws to press the moss onto each tick. You may as well clear away my dirt now, your paws are already foul, she meowed when he finished. I'm going to take a nap. She yawned, revealing her blackened and broken teeth. The warmth of the day was making her sleepy, too. Then you can go and do whatever it is your apprentices do, she muttered. When Firepaw had cleared away Yellowfang's dirt, he left her dozing and made his way to the gorse tunnel. He was keen to get to the stream and rinse his paws. Firepaw! A voice called from the side of the clearing. Firepaw turned. It was Halftail. Where are you off to? Meowed the old cat curiously. You ought to be helping with the preparations. I've just been putting mouse bile on Yellowfang's ticks, replied Firepaw. Amusement flickered through Halftail's whiskers. So now you're off to the nearest stream. Well, don't come back without fresh kill. We need as much as we can find. Yes, Halftail, Firepaw replied. He made his way out of the camp and up the side of the ravine. He trotted down to the stream where he and Graypaw had hunted on the day he had found Yellowfang. Without hesitating, he jumped down into the cold, clear water. It came up to his haunches and wet his belly fur, and the shock made him gasp. He shivered. A rustle in the bushes above him made him look up, although the familiar scent that reached his nose told him there was nothing to be alarmed about. "What are you doing in there?" Graypaw and Ravenpaw were standing looking at him as if they were mad. "Mouse bile," Firepaw grimaced. "Don't ask. We're a lion hunting tiger claw." "They've gone on the next patrol," answered Graypaw. "They ordered us to spend the rest of the afternoon hunting." "Halftail told me the same thing," Firepaw mewed, flinching as a chilly current water rushed around his paws. "Everyone's busy back at camp. You'd think we were about to be attacked at any moment." He climbed up onto the bank, dripping. "Who says we won't be?" mewed Ravenpaw, his eyes flickering from side to side as if he expected an enemy patrol to leap out of the bushes at any time. Firepaw looked at the heap of fresh kill that was piled beside the two apprentices. "Looks like you've done all right today," he mewed. "Yeah," meowed Graypaw proudly, "and we've still got the rest of the afternoon to hunt. Do you want to join us?" "You bet," Firepaw purred. He gave himself a final shake and then bounded into the undergrowth after his friends. Going to end it there. So, not much has happened. Few details I would like to point out, though. This series has a lot of foreshadowing. A lot. They use a lot of foreshadowing in this series as a whole. So I wanted to point out Yellowfang's aversion to kids. That's interesting. She was a warrior at some point, and she says she's not had kids. Okay. Well, why? Even if she didn't like them, well, why would she have such an aversion? What are these accidents she talks about? And another thing is I'm going to point out Firepaw's thrill of excitement, energy, his contentment, spending time with Spotted Leaf. Do you think that might lead anywhere? So, to end that topic there, going back to, since yesterday was Mother's Day, and I live in the United States, and I am a woman, Roe versus Wade is being potentially overturned. And I say potentially because, while the chances are very, very slim, some people could change their minds. Doubtful. But not just about abortion. Because I told you my thoughts on abortion in the last video. That's my personal belief. That's how I feel about it. Unless there are certain circumstances, I feel like it shouldn't be the answer. But I don't know your life. I don't know his, her life, whatever. I know that if you force someone to be a parent, they're not going to be a good parent. They didn't want to be. But what else could this potentially affect? Loving versus Virginia allows for interracial marriage because that falls under privacy. Brown versus the Education Board ensures that segregation ends and that there's equal education opportunities for all children, regardless of income or status or immigration status. Gideon versus Wainwright ensures legal counsel to you despite your status or money. And Mapp versus Ohio disallows evidence gained illegally to be used against you in court. equality, education, even marriage. Your privacy is on the line. Your medical records. HIPAA was founded with the intent of privacy, but the government decides, we're going to have privacy. Well, medical records open. They can see what you bought, what you eat, what you drink, medicines you take. Government can see anything now because they'll give them the green light. You see, it was illegal before for the government to actually be actively spying on its citizens, but now it won't be. Congratulations, America. You're number one at being crappy right now.